I've never told anyone this story before. Not really. It's been buried deep in the part of my memory I try not to touch. Like an infected wound I've bandaged over and forgotten. But every now and then something will remind me. A flickering hallway light, the metallic slam of a locker, the smell of musty janitor closets. And it all floods back. I was 17 when it happened. Senior year of high school. My town, Mill Creek, was one of those quiet, nothing-ever-happens places where everyone knew everyone. And the biggest drama was who kissed who behind the bleachers. But our school had a reputation, not for academics, not for sports, for something darker. There were stories. Every freshman heard them on day one. Whispered legends traded like contraband in the cafeteria. A girl disappeared in the 80s. A teacher hung himself in the gym. There's a door under the basement stairs you're not supposed to open. Most were just stupid rumors. Or so I thought, but one story, one I wish I'd never investigated, was about a locker. 119, at the far end of Hall B, a part of the school most students avoided. Hall B always felt wrong. The rest of Mill Creek High was bright and busy, but Hall B was like another world. Colder, quieter, and always empty, even during class changes. Its overhead lights flickered more than the others, buzzing like dying flies. The air smelled faintly metallic, like rust and dust. And at the very end, near the emergency exit no one used, was a row of lockers that were older than the rest. Smaller, heavier, painted over a dozen times until they were a blotchy gray. Locker 119 was the last one. I'd never paid much attention to it. Until October. It started like most stupid teenage horror stories, with a dare. We were at lunch. Me, my best friend Jamie, and a couple of guys from our history class. Someone brought up the ghost locker. Jamie rolled his eyes, called it bullshit, and before I knew it, someone said, "Bet you wouldn't open it." "Why would I?" Jamie laughed. "There's probably just old gym socks in there." "Because no one's opened 119 in 30 years, one of the guys said. "Swear to God, they say if you touch it, you hear her." Hurricane meaning the girl from the 80s, the one who vanished. The legend went that she was last seen putting books away in that hallway. They never found her body. Some said her spirit was still trapped inside the school. Others said the locker was cursed, that if you opened it, something would look back. Of course, Jamie wasn't the type to back down. And I wasn't about to look like a coward either. "Fine," he said. "We'll open it after practice." "You in, Caleb?" I hesitated. Everything about Hall B made my stomach twist. But adrenaline and teenage bravado are a powerful mix. "Yeah," I said. "I'm in." That evening, the halls were eerily empty. We waited until after football practice, when the janitors had mostly cleared out and the building was nearly silent. The sun was setting outside, painting the windows in long, bloody streaks of orange and red. Jamie was grinning the whole time, flashlight in hand. "This is gonna be legendary." I didn't feel legendary, I felt watched. We walked down Hall B together, our sneakers squeaking on the old linoleum. Every step echoed. The hallway seemed to stretch longer than I remembered, the buzzing lights dimmer. By the time we reached the far end, I was sweating through my hoodie. "There it is," Jamie whispered. "Locker 119. It looked ordinary, just another battered, dented door with chipped paint and a sticky handle, but standing in front of it felt like standing in front of a grave. The air around it was noticeably colder. Jamie tugged at the handle. It didn't budge. "Locked," he muttered. "Obviously," I said. "Let's go." "Hell no." He dug into his pocket and pulled out a small flathead screwdriver. I came prepared. I watched nervously as he wedged the tip into the gap near the latch. The metal groaned. After a minute of prying and cursing, there was a snap, and the door creaked open. A foul, musty smell hit us immediately, like rotting fabric and mold. Jamie aimed the flashlight inside. It was empty. No books, no notes, no signs of anyone having used it in decades. Just bare rusted metal. But then we both heard it, a whisper, so faint I thought I'd imagined it. A girl's voice. "Help me." Jamie turned to me, his grin fading. "Did you—" "Shh." The hallway was dead silent. "Then, please, don't leave." Clearer this time. Right next to us, Jamie's hand trembled, and the flashlight beam danced wildly across the walls. "Someone's here." We backed away. The locker door slammed shut on its own with a metallic clang. I swear to God, it shook the whole row. We bolted. Didn't stop running until we were outside, panting in the cold night air. Jamie laughed it off, called it weird but cool. but I couldn't shake the chill that crawled under my skin. Something had spoken, I knew it, and somehow it had come from inside that locker. After that night, things got strange. It started small. I'd walk past Hall B and swear I heard footsteps behind me, but when I turned, no one was there. My locker would be open when I knew I'd closed it. My textbooks would be scattered across the floor. Then came the dreams, always the same one. A girl standing at the end of Hall B. Her face was hidden behind a curtain of black hair. Her clothes were torn, waterlogged, dripping onto the tiles. She'd lift her head, and just before I could see her face, I'd wake up. I told myself it was stress. Senior year, college applications, too many horror movies, but deep down I knew better. And then Jamie stopped coming to school. It happened about a week later. His mom called the school, said he'd left for the bus that morning and never arrived. Police were called, searches were organized, but there was nothing. No sightings, no phone activity. He'd vanished, just like her. They questioned me, of course. We'd been together the night we opened the locker. I told them everything except that part. I wasn't about to explain to two detectives that we'd broken into a sealed locker and heard ghostly whispers, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. I knew that whatever was in that locker had something to do with Jamie's disappearance, and I couldn't live with myself if I didn't find out what. I went back 3 days. Later, it was late. Again, past sunset, and the halls were empty. I'd waited until the janitors had finished and the school was locked down. I knew the side door near the gym didn't latch properly, so I slipped in without anyone seeing. Every step toward Hall B felt heavier. The silence pressed against me. When I reached the end of the corridor, I stopped in front of locker 1 and 19. The padlock was back. That shouldn't have been possible. We'd broken it. I felt a cold rush of dread slide down my spine. I pressed my ear against the door. Nothing. Then, tap. Tap, tap. 3 soft knocks from the inside. I stumbled back, my heart hammering. My first instinct was to run, but then I heard it again. That same voice. Faint, broken, pleading, please.
Help me. Jamie?
I whispered, no answer. Just a slow scraping sound like nails dragging down metal from the inside. I knew I shouldn't, but I had to see. I grabbed the lock and yanked. It didn't budge. Again and again I pulled until my hands ached. And then suddenly, without warning, it clicked open. The door swung wide, empty. Again. But this time, there was something scratched into the back wall of the locker. Let me out. And beneath that, a single word, below. There was no basement in Hall B, at least not one I knew of. But I remembered something. An old maintenance hatch halfway down the hall, bolted shut and half painted over. I'd seen janitors go down there once years ago. I found it covered in layers of peeling paint. The bolts came loose easily, like they'd been tampered with recently. My hands shook as I pried it open and stared down into darkness. A metal ladder disappeared into the black. I told myself I was crazy, that this was how horror movies started. But something deeper, guilt maybe, pushed me forward. If Jamie was down there, if anyone was down there, I climbed. The ladder went deeper than it should have. 30 feet, maybe more, before my feet hit cold concrete. My flashlight flickered on. I was standing in a narrow, windowless corridor. Walls of unfinished brick, damp and crumbling. Pipes snaked overhead, dripping water that echoed in the silence. The air was colder, heavier, tinged with something foul, rot and decay. There were doors. Old wooden ones spaced every 10 feet, each marked with a number. 101, 102, 103, all the way down, and from behind one of them came crying. It was soft, childlike. A girl's voice. Hello? I whispered, stepping forward. The crying stopped. I pushed on deeper into the hallway. My flashlight beam trembled. I passed door after door, each one locked tight. Some had scratches on the wood, gouges like fingernails. Some had stains beneath them, dark, dried, and unmistakably blood. Then I reached 119. It was the only door slightly ajar. I pushed it open. The room inside was small, maybe 10 feet across, with walls lined in metal. Like a storage cell or a cage, and in the center of the floor was a single dented locker, not the one upstairs. The same one, it was identical in every detail but older, rusted through, stained dark. The door hung open, and inside, carved deep into the metal, were words over and over again. "Let me out, let me out, let me out." My breath caught in my throat. Then I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate, coming from behind me. "Jamie?" I whispered again. Silence. The footsteps stopped right behind me. My flashlight flickered, once, twice, and died. Darkness swallowed the room. Something cold brushed the back of my neck. And then, a voice, inches from my ear. "Thank you for opening it." I ran. I've never told this story to anyone. Not because I'm afraid people won't believe me. I know they won't. But because even saying the words out loud makes me feel like I'm summoning it back. Like if I speak its name, it will know I'm still here. But I have to tell someone before I lose my mind. This all started in my junior year of high school. I was 16, average in every possible way. Not popular, not invisible, the kind of kid teachers liked but classmates forgot about. Millington High was an old brick building from the 1940s. The kind of place that creaks when it's windy and smells like old paper and bleach. Most of the rooms had been renovated over the decades, except one. Room 217. It was tucked away at the far end of the second floor, past the art rooms and the AV club office, down a corridor that always felt a few degrees colder than the rest of the building. Nobody liked going down there, not even the teachers. Used to be a science lab. At least that's what the older faculty said. But the school had long since repurposed it into a general classroom, mostly for English electives and literature clubs. It had tall, narrow windows that barely let in any light, water-stained ceiling tiles, and a faint chemical smell that never went away. The janitor swore they'd scrubbed every inch of that room, but the odor lingered, metallic, bitter, unsettling. When the semester started, I found out my schedule had placed me there for 7th period English Lit. The teacher was a man named Mr. Harrow. Tall, thin, with silver-rimmed glasses and a permanent frown etched into his face. He spoke softly but precisely, with the kind of calm that demanded silence. Most students thought he was weird, maybe even creepy, but he was brilliant. The kind of teacher who made you actually think instead of just memorize. For the first few weeks, class was uneventful. We read Shakespeare, wrote essays, discussed symbolism, but there were little things I brushed off at first. The lights in 217 flickered more often than any other classroom. Sometimes in the middle of a lesson, the overheads would dim and buzz for a second before stabilizing. Once they went out completely, and we sat in pitch black for nearly a full minute before they came back on. And then there was the clock, the one above the whiteboard was always wrong, always. It would freeze for minutes at a time and then suddenly jump forward. Mr. Harrow eventually stopped referencing it altogether, relying on his wristwatch instead. But the weirdest thing, and the thing we all joked about, was the window reflection. From inside 217, if you looked out the row of windows on the left wall, you could see the school courtyard and the main parking lot beyond it. But if you stood in the back corner of the room and looked at the reflection in the glass instead of through it, you'd see something else. A hallway. Dark, empty, lined with doors that didn't exist. It was probably just a trick of the light. That's what we told ourselves. But people swore they saw movement in that reflection. Shadows walking past, shapes standing still and watching. Once my friend Leah swore she saw a girl staring back at her. Pale skin, long black hair, mouth open like she was screaming. We laughed it off. Of course we did. That's what teenagers do. But the laughter didn't last. It was October 12th. I remember because it was the day after my birthday, when everything changed. We were halfway through class, discussing Wuthering Heights when the lights started flickering again. No one even reacted this time, but then they went out. Completely. The room plunged into darkness. A few people groaned. Someone joked, "Guess the ghost's back." Mr. Harrow told us to stay calm and went to the door, but when he tried it, the knob wouldn't turn. "It's locked," he said. That didn't make sense. The door didn't even have a lock from the inside. We waited. 5 minutes, 10. The hallway outside was silent. No footsteps, no voices, no hint that anyone knew we were stuck. And the air in the room started to feel wrong, heavy, like breathing through wet cloth. Then someone I think it was Leah, gasped. The window, she whispered. We all turned. The reflection was gone. No courtyard, no parking lot. Just that hallway, darker than before. And this time we all saw it, a figure standing in the middle. At first I thought it was a girl. But the longer I stared, the less sure I was. It was too tall, its limbs too long. Its head hung at a strange angle, like its neck had been twisted. And it wasn't standing, it was twitching, jerking in tiny, unnatural movements. Like a marionette pulled by invisible strings. The lights came back on with a snap. The door opened easily when Mr. Harrow tried it again. He dismissed class early. None of us argued. After that day, people started skipping 217, attendance dropped. The school said the electrical issues were being investigated, but nothing changed. And Mr. Harrow, he got stranger too. He stopped calling attendance, stopped grading our essays. Most days he just stood at the front of the room, staring at the windows in silence. And every day that thing in the reflection got closer. I stopped sitting near the windows. Most of us did. But no matter where I sat, I could feel it, watching, waiting. One afternoon, I stayed behind after class to ask Mr. Harrow about an essay. The room was empty, the hallway outside quiet. As I packed up my bag, I heard him muttering. They said it was sealed, he whispered, pacing by the windows. They said it was over. Mr. Harrow? I asked. He froze, then slowly turned to look at me. His face was pale, slick with sweat. Don't look in the glass, he said. No matter what you hear, don't look. I left without another word. That night, I dreamed of the hallway. Endless doors, faint whispers echoing from behind them, and at the end, the figure, closer now, its face still hidden. I woke up screaming. The next day, Leah didn't come to school. Neither did 2 other kids from our class. They never came back. Their parents filed missing persons reports. Police swarmed the school. Rumors exploded, abductions, runaways, serial killers. But deep down, I knew the truth. They'd looked. A week later, Mr. Harrow stopped showing up too. We had a substitute for the rest of the semester. 217 was officially under maintenance by January. But I couldn't stay away, I needed to know. So one evening in March, I broke in. The building was dark and silent. My heart pounded as I crept up the stairs and down the empty corridor. When I reached 217, the door was chained shut. I cut the lock with a bolt cutter I'd borrowed from my dad's garage. Inside, the air was stale and freezing. Dust coated the desks. Cobwebs hung from the corners. But the windows were spotless. I stepped toward them. My hands shook. The reflection was waiting. The hallway was clearer than ever. Every brick, every door. And right at the edge of the frame, the figure stood motionless. Close enough now that I could almost see its face. Then, something impossible happened. It moved toward me, not in the reflection, but out of it. Its hand pressed against the glass, stretching the surface like water. A black skeletal arm slid through, followed by a second. Its head emerged next, a twisted, eyeless thing with skin stretched too tight over bone. I stumbled back, screaming, but my voice didn't make a sound. The thing kept crawling inch by inch out of the window that was no longer a window, and then I heard them. The voices. Leah's voice. The others. Whispering, crying, begging, help us. Don't leave us here, please. I don't know what came over me. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe curiosity. Maybe something darker. But I stepped forward, reached out, and the thing grabbed my wrist, cold. So cold I thought my bones would shatter. It pulled. Hard. My feet left the ground. I was being dragged into the reflection. Into that endless hallway. I screamed and kicked, clawed at the frame. My other hand caught the edge of the desk. Somehow, I don't know how, I tore free. I stumbled back, falling hard to the floor. When I looked up, the window was just a window again. The courtyard. The parking lot. The evening sun, but I wasn't alone. In the reflection behind me, I saw them, Leah. The others. Mr. Harrow. Standing silently in that dark hallway, their eyes hollow, their faces pale, watching me. And the thing was right behind them, smiling. I ran. I didn't stop until I was outside, gasping in the cold air, tears streaming down my face. I never told anyone what happened. Who would believe me? They'd call me insane. They did shut 217 down for good, though. Bricked it up. pretended it never existed. Most students today don't even know there was ever a room there. But I know. And sometimes when I pass that part of the building, I catch a glimpse of myself in the polished glass trophy case across the hall. And behind me, far, far back, I see a hallway that shouldn't be there, and shapes getting closer. Every year, another student goes missing. They vanish without a trace, and every time I check the reflection, and every time there's another face in that hallway. The last time I looked, there were 12, and one of them was smiling at me with my own face. I don't look anymore, but I still feel it. In mirrors. In windows and dark screens when the power goes out, it's waiting. And next time, I don't think I'll be able to pull free. I shouldn't be telling this. Not really. Some things, once you see them, you can't unsee. And some doors, once you open them, can never be closed. It all started with a book. I was 16, a junior, and I had the kind of obsession that made my parents roll their eyes. I loved the library, loved the smell of old pages, the quiet hum of fluorescent lights, the way the shelves felt endless, a maze of worlds. Most students used it as a study hall or a place to text under the radar, but I was different. I spent every free period there, diving into whatever caught my eye. The school library at Millington High was old. Older than the building itself, or at least that's what the plaque said. It was built in the 1950s, but the room itself had creaky wooden floors, tall windows, and a balcony lined with iron railings. The librarian, Mrs. Kendrick, was ancient. I think she'd been working there since the 70s. She didn't much care what we did as long as we didn't damage anything. It was on a Thursday after lunch when I first saw it. I was wandering. The farthest corner of the upper stack stood the part of the library nobody ever went to, when I noticed a book jutting out from the shelf as if it didn't belong. The spine was black leather, cracked and worn. There was no title, no author, just a faint symbol embossed in gold that looked like an eye, one I swear I hadn't seen before. I hesitated. Normally I'd skim the spine before touching a book, but something about this one made my fingers move on their own. I pulled it out. The leather cover was surprisingly warm to the touch, like it had absorbed the heat of some long-forgotten fire. Opening it, I realized it was handwritten. No print, no typeface. The pages were yellowed, brittle, and smelled like damp earth. The writing was neat, cursive, flowing, but the words made my stomach tighten. It was a diary, or maybe a record. The first few entries were normal enough. Someone documenting their life, notes on school, observations on classmates. But as I read on, the entries became stranger. Mentions of watching from the shadows, of doors that shouldn't exist, and children who never leave. The handwriting grew darker, scratchier, more desperate. By the 10th page, I was hooked. I took the book to a secluded table in the corner and started reading straight through. The entries were dated, but not recent. They were decades old. 1967, 1968, 1969. And the names mentioned, I recognized some of them. Old teachers, alumni from yearbooks hanging in the library hallway. Some had passed away. Others had moved away. But the author, I couldn't find a name. Only the symbol, the eye, that's when I noticed it. A sentence scratched across the margin of one page, in letters darker than the ink, as if written with something else entirely. I see you. I laughed nervously. I was alone. The library was empty. Mrs. Kendrick was probably in the back office sipping her endless tea. I flipped to the next page, another note, don't look behind you. I froze. The hairs on my arm stood up. I told myself it was just the book playing tricks on me, that the author was messing with future readers. But then from the far side of the library I heard it, a shuffle, not loud, not like someone walking, more like paper sliding across wood. I turned slowly, scanning the stacks. Empty. I convinced myself it was a book falling, or a draft. Maybe my imagination. I returned to the diary. The entries became terrifyingly detailed. Descriptions of students, girls with braids, boys who played football and walking down the halls, watching, names, exact routines. And then predictions, events that hadn't happened yet. Birthdays, fights, accidents. Even the next week's weather. And at the end of one entry, a single line. Tomorrow, you will see me. I slammed the book shut. My chest pounded. I told myself to leave it alone, to put it back on the shelf and never touch it again. But I couldn't. Curiosity is a cruel thing. The next day I returned. 7th period, my usual time. I made my way to the upper stacks. The book was gone. I searched every shelf. Not a trace. I asked Mrs. Kendrick if anyone had checked it out. She shook her head. "No one's been up here today," she said, voice low. "You shouldn't have been alone, dear." I nodded. I didn't tell her. I couldn't. By the end of that week, strange things started happening. Small things at first. My locker would be open when I got to school. Notes I hadn't written appeared in my backpack. Shadows flickered across walls in the corner of my vision. Whispering. It escalated. One afternoon, I stayed after school to catch up on homework. The library was empty. As I sat at my table, I noticed the diary had returned. Open waiting, I swear it wasn't there before. I tried to leave it. Tried to ignore it. But my eyes kept going back. I opened it. The entries now spoke directly to me. My name appeared in the margins. Observations about my habits. The classes I took. Who I sat with. The bus I rode, and then a note: "You shouldn't have looked. I am here." The lights flickered. The air grew cold. My breath fogged. And in the corner I saw it. A girl, standing behind a shelf. Long black hair, face pale and hollow. She didn't move toward me, but she didn't need to. Just standing there watching made the room feel smaller, suffocating. I bolted. I didn't stop running until I was outside, the evening sky dull and gray. But I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. That night I dreamed of the library. Endless stacks. The diary in my hands. The girl crawling closer with each turn of the page. I woke up screaming. The next day I told a friend, Alex, what happened. He was skeptical, of course. He dared me to go back. To prove it wasn't just my imagination, I wanted to refuse. Wanted to lock myself away. But the diary, it had a pull I couldn't resist. We returned that afternoon. The library was empty. My hands shook as I approached the upper stacks. The diary lay on the same table, open. Alex wanted to grab it. I stopped him. "I can't," I whispered. It knows we're here. We read together. The entries now predicted us. Alex's name appeared. My name appeared. Notes about how we would react. About fear. About running. And then the final message: "You can't leave." I felt a cold presence behind me. The girl had moved. She was closer now. No expression, just watching. My heart raced. Alex panicked, running to the exit. I stayed paralyzed. The diary's pages flipped on their own, revealing drawings. Doors that didn't exist in the library. Corridors stretching impossibly long. Shadows moving within them. I heard whispers in my head calling my name. "Come to me. You belong here." I stumbled back. And then she was there, right in front of me. She leaned close. Her breath smelled of mildew and decay. "I see you," she whispered. I don't know how I got out. I ran. Alex grabbed me and pulled me into the hallway. The library doors slammed behind us. When we looked back, the windows were just windows again. No corridor, no girl. No diary, we reported nothing. No one would have believed us, but I haven't been the same since. Sometimes at home I see her in reflective surfaces. The mirror in my room, the glass of the front door. Standing at the edge, silent, watching, waiting, and the diary. I don't know where it is now. But I know it's out there, waiting for the next person to open it, waiting to write their name in its margins. I've tried to forget it, tried to ignore the strange shadows, the whispers, the feeling of being followed. But some nights I dream of that library, endless stacks, pages turning, a black-haired girl crawling closer, whispering the same words, "You shouldn't have looked. You can't leave," and I wake up knowing with absolute certainty that one day she will find me again. Because some books don't just hold stories. They hold something far older, far hungrier, far more patient. And that book is still waiting.